Making headlines this hour. Police arrest suspect linked with the 2016 murder case days after Presidential Commission asked the public for information regarding his whereabouts. Foreign Minister says Maldives is pursuing a policy of re-engagement to reclaim its place in the global arena after a long period of absence. And Environment Minister says Maldives aim to protect at least 20% of its oceans. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Mariam Shaushat. Maldives Police Service apprehends Irfan Rushdi, a suspect involved in a 2016 murder case. The arrest was made days after Presidential Commission on Investigation of Murder and Enforced Disappearances asked the public for information regarding his whereabouts. According to the police, the arrest was made when a distress call was made after a speedboat ran out of fuel and was left stranded at sea. Assistance was provided to the speedboat and the 4 people on board were safely transported to Tinadu Gafudalu atoll. The police identified one of the individuals as Irfan Rushdi and took him into custody along with his companions. Irfan is believed to be involved in the murder of 14-year-old Fatir Muhammad Ali on June 3, 2016. The commission mentioned Maldives immigration has said the suspect left Maldives in 2015 and had not returned. Despite the claims, the commission revealed the suspect was seen at the scene of the murder in 2016, adding the authorities have been unable to locate or apprehend him in over 3 years. Back in 2016, Maldives Police Service has also announced seeking public support in apprehending the suspect. However, the police said it received no information on his whereabouts in the past 3 years. Minister of Foreign Affairs Abdullah Shahid states Maldives is pursuing a policy of re-engagement to reclaim its place in the global arena after a long period of absence and will seek to proactively cooperate on shared interests and concerns in the multilateral arena. The Foreign Minister made the remarks while delivering a statement on the ongoing 18th Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Non-Aligned Movement NAMD held in Baku, Azerbaijan. He is representing Maldives at the summit on behalf of President Ibrahim Mohamed Saleh. In his statement, Minister Shahid outlined the direction Maldives have been pursuing since the new administration assumed power last November. The minister explained Maldives is looking to re-engage with the international community, especially with the members of NAM, and will seek to proactively cooperate on shared interests and concerns in the multilateral arena. Furthermore, the Foreign Minister also stated it is important for NAM to adapt to new and non-traditional challenges in the world, such as climate change and terrorism. He said the value of international cooperation amongst member states of NAM could only be derived from the recognition of these challenges and the application of the collective political will to address them comprehensively. On climate change, Foreign Minister Shahid urged the international community to come together to address the challenges and consequences arising from the changing climate. Shahid mentioned climate change is already having a devastating effect on the world's natural resources such as water, food security and health. He said Maldives will always lead from the front in bringing to the world's attention to the impact of climate change and in urging countries to take further action. On the issue of Palestine, Foreign Minister Shahid outlined that well-known position of Maldives on the question of Palestine and reiterated unwavering support for the creation of an independent and sovereign state of Palestine. NAM comprises of 120 member states and is one of the largest international organizations after the United Nations. Maldives became a member of NAM in 1976. Minister of Environment Dr. Hussein Rashid Hassan stated Maldives aim to protect at least 20% of its oceans. Delivering the keynote speech at the 6th Our Ocean Conference, the Environment Minister highlighted the deep connection between the flora and fauna of the oceans and the people. The minister further noted oceans are the richest sources for survival of the people. He said the slightest impact on marine life will have significant consequences to the people. The Environment Minister called on the world to follow the Maldivian examples of environmentally conscious pole and line fishery and sustainable ecotourism conducted as part of the efforts to protect marine life. The minister also announced the aim of Maldives to protect at least 20% of its oceans to boost fish stocks, enhance the benefits of marine life and safeguard the lives of the people. He also said Maldives have decided to undertake a comprehensive marine spatial planning exercise and sustainable marine conservation program in partnership with an international network, Blue Prosperity Coalition. Our Ocean Conference is held to urge nations towards meaningful actions to achieve Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs), identify approaches to sustainable utilizations of marine resources, and analyze the impact of climate change on marine life. The approaches and challenges are discussed in detail to reach measurable and clear commitments towards clean, healthy, and productive oceans, in addition to encouraging new and far-reaching actions to the best of the oceans. Minister of Finance Ibrahim Amir says no action of corruption was involved in awarding Gulifalu reclamation project to Dutch dredging firm Boskalis Westminster Contracting Limited. Speaking at a news conference to address public concern following the decision to award the project to Boskalis for $53 million without tender, Minister Amir said the project will be financed by Dutch ING Bank via a loan, and the financer requires the project to be awarded to a Dutch firm. The minister further said the project also needed to be completed promptly as it has significant economic benefits to the country. The minister also said the project was awarded to Boskalis after the project was evaluated in the Economic Council. Minister Amir also said the state-owned Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC has committed to several projects in the past few months and is unable to take up a mega project. Boskalis was awarded the project to reclaim 6 million cubic meters of land and establish a 4-kilometer seawall within 180 days as part of the first phase of moving Malé commercial port to Gulifalu. The giant Dutch firm has successfully conducted several mega reclamation and various dredging projects in Maldives. CEO of Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC, Hassan Shah, states its hopper dredger does not have the capacity to dredge 6 million cubic meters of land in 180 days. Speaking to PSM News to address public concern following the decision to award the project to Boskalis Westminster Contracting Limited for $53 million without tender, Shah said MTCC would require 18 months to finish the project, given that it can dredge only 12 to 13,000 cubic meters a day. Ministry of National Planning and Infrastructure said the contract was awarded to the Dutch firm as it has the capacity to complete the Gulifalu reclamation project before March. The administration intends to begin the project to shift Malé commercial port to Gulifalu next March. The ministry also said the state-owned MTCC is unlikely to complete a mega project of this scale in time, as the company has recently been awarded the reclamation projects in Guradu and Maafushi. MTCC CEO Shah confirmed the hopper dredger has been mobilized in Kafu Atoll to reclaim the land of 2 islands. Anti-Corruption Commission ACC instructs the state to open projects for tender in accordance with procurement acts and policies. ACC said the award of public projects without tender is likely to lead to corruption and significant losses to the state. The Commission also raised concern as such tenders are against the basic principles of Public Finance Act. Hence, ACC called on the administration to award projects via a transparent and a competitive public tender procurement process. The corruption watchdog The corruption watchdog gave the instructions reflecting public concern following the land reclamation award to Boskalis Westminster Contracting Limited for $53 million without tender. Following criticism, Ministry of Planning and Infrastructure said the contract was awarded to the Dutch firm as per the Public Finance Act with the intent of completing the project swiftly. The ministry said the state-owned Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC does not have the capacity to conduct such a mega project at the moment. Meanwhile, MTCC has said its hopper dredger does not have the capacity to dredge 6 million cubic meters of land in 180 days. The Public Finance Act allows the state to award projects to a contractor determined by the President based on advice and suggestions of Economic Council once a project proposal is submitted to the administration without public tender. The state has assured the public a thorough evaluation system has been established to award projects. Health Protection Authority HPA maintains leprosy is not spreading in Maldives, responding to criticisms that surfaced after a screening program was launched in Fares Mathoda, Gulf Alif Atoll. In a statement, HPA explained a screening program has been conducted in some islands as part of the Zero Leprosy program launched with the aim of eliminating leprosy by 2030. The statement further clarified the program is currently running in Fares Mathoda and is also part of the program to eliminate leprosy in Maldives, and HPA intends to offer early treatment and cure for anyone infected with the disease. According to the statement, although a few cases of leprosy have been reported in Maldives each year, the spread of the disease has been controlled in Maldives in par with World Health Organization WHO standards. Maldives now see an average of 3 to 7 leprosy patients a year, and only 3 cases have appeared so far this year. Leprosy is a disease that can be cured by multi-drug therapy if treatment is begun early. HPA explained patients identified with leprosy are assisted and treated by specialist doctors and a special HPA team until they are cured. With the help of local health centers, HPA further shares information with family, friends and relatives of the patients on taking preventive measures in order to ensure their safety. China and the US settle certain issues of concern on meat trade between two countries after a phone discussion. Chinese Vice Premier Liu He, also a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China Central Committee and chief of the Chinese side of the China-US Comprehensive Economic Dialogue, held the phone conversation with US Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer and Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. The two sides agreed to resolve each other's core concerns properly in the phone call and reached consensus on certain issues like equivalent equality monitoring system adopted by the US for importing Chinese-made cooked poultry meat and catfish products. China also agreed to lift bans on US poultry meat and apply the Public Health Information System (FIS) for meat products. The two sides will have another phone call soon. Joining Liu in the phone conversation with the US side were China's Minister of Commerce Zhong Shan, Governor of the People's Bank of China Yi Gang, Vice Chairman of the National Development and Reform Commission Ning Jize. Last time the two sides held talks on October 10th to 11th in the US and announced that substantial progress has been made in areas including agriculture, intellectual property rights protection, exchange rate, financial services, expansion of trade cooperation, technology transfer and dispute settlement. Bolivians blocked streets and banged on pots and pans from windows and rooftops in the capital La Paz, protesting a controversial election count handling President Evo Morales, a fourth consecutive term that would extend his rule to nearly 2 decades. After nightfall, Bolivians banged on pots and pans in a traditional form of protest. Earlier, roads were blocked and demonstrators surrounded the headquarters of the country's electoral board, guarded by rows of police in anti-riot gear. Morales faced a fifth day of street protests in La Paz and other cities that began after an official quick count of votes was suddenly suspended when it revealed Morales heading to a riskier runoff election against rival Carlos Mesa. A confident Morales said then his Socialist Party MAS would get an outright win as rural votes trickled in. The tabulation of ballots at 100% on Friday confirmed his prediction, giving him a 10.57-point lead over Mesa, less than a point above what he needed to avoid a second-round vote. Election monitors, the opposition and some foreign governments criticized the election for lacking transparency. The European Union, the US, Brazil, Argentina and Colombia called for Bolivia to convene a second-round vote to ease the unrest. Morales, who swept to power in 2006 as the country's first indigenous leader, hailed the official result of Sunday's vote as another historic triumph for his leftist movement and accused the opposition without evidence of trying to stage a coup d'etat with foreign backing. Leicester City record the biggest ever English top flight away win by beating 10-men Southampton 9-0 at a rain-sodden St Mary's move up to second place in the Premier League. The biggest margin of victory on the road previously was 8 goals, a joint record held by 3 clubs. It was also the first time a team had scored 9 away goals in the Premier League and equalled Manchester United's record 9-0 Premier League win achieved at home to Ipswich Town in 1995. Leicester moved to 20 points from 10 games, their best ever start to a Premier League campaign that leaves them 5 points behind leaders Liverpool, who have a game in hand. Hat-tricks from Ayoze Perez and Jamie Vardy, plus goals by Yuri Tielemans, Ben Chilwell and James Maddison inflicted Southampton's biggest home defeat in their 133-year history. Saints lost Ryan Bertrand to an early red card and were shambolic in defence as they slipped into the relegation zone on goal difference after taking 1 home point this season. Southampton's heaviest Premier League defeat had been a 7-1 reverse to Liverpool 20 years ago, another unwanted record for their under-pressure manager Ralph Hasenhuttl. There was a double blow for the hosts after 10 minutes when Chilwell tapped home a rebound to give Leicester the lead after Vardy's shot was only parried by goalkeeper Angus Gunn. A check by the video assistant referee VAR showed a crude lunge by Bertrand on Perez in the build-up to the goal, and the Southampton defender received his marching orders. From there, Leicester were able to cut through their opponents at will. Saints defender Jan Valery could only steer a poor clearance into the path of Tielemans to score after 17 minutes, and 2 minutes later, the latter turned provider for Perez to open his Leicester account. He grabbed his second with a volley at the back post from Chilwell's cross in the 39th, and the home humiliation was compounded when Vardy blasted past Gunn just before the break for a 5-0 lead. Rampant Leicester added 2 more before the hour mark as Perez completed his hat-trick with a neat volley and Vardy was left unmarked to head home Chilwell's cross. Maddison added to the home misery with a 25-metre free kick before Vardy completed his hat-trick with the last kick of the game via a penalty. Orion is an aspiring actor from the New York borough of Queens, and so in a bid to boost his brand, he decided to do a photo shoot on a steep flight of steps in an out-of-the-way Bronx borough neighborhood that is quickly becoming a cult movie landmark. Okay. This fall, Orion and a stream of fellow visitors have flocked to the stairway known as a Step Street to see the real-life backdrop from a memorable scene in Joker, the hit movie that tells the backstory of Batman's deranged foe, the Joker. The scene captures the moment that loner Arthur Fleck, played by Joaquin Phoenix, transforms into the Joker as he dances down the steps to Gary Glitter's anthem Rock and Roll Part 2, his hair dyed a menacing green and his face painted like a clown.
You know, this morning when I was putting on the makeup and the suit and shit like that, I did get into those shoes. I would feel like I stepped into the big shoes that he had to fill. Yeah. And I feel like that triumphant moment was my triumphant moment right now, because I'm thinking the shots came out pretty good.
Until recently, not many tourists ventured into the Bronx, which has long sought to shake an unfair image as a crime-ridden backwater. The borough's biggest draws are the Bronx Zoo, the New York Botanical Gardens, and the New York Yankees, the perennial baseball powerhouse that makes its home about a mile south of the Steps, located on West 167th Street between Anderson and Shakespeare Avenues. But since the release of Joker, many New Yorkers and out-of-towners have traveled there to gawk, take selfies, and, in the spirit of the Joker's choreography, to hem it up. For long-time Bronx residents like security guard Raphael, step streets are a common feature in the borough's hilly landscape, and they welcome the attention.
Well, I had somebody that told me the other day, and they're from this neighborhood, that, these are the steps that people came down, that were poverty steps and everything. They would just wanted to get attention on social media, because, social media is a platform for everybody. They just wanted to get their attention, instead of saying that there's also working people who came down these stairs and people going up these stairs. And you should be proud that the Bronx is getting attention right now. This is becoming a tourist attraction. Instead of making it a negative, make it a positive. Do something about this, If they fixed it, yeah, I understand they fixed it due to the movie and everything, that's fine. That's great. That's great. You got people coming from all over the world to come to these steps, and I'm proud that I live by that. So I'm good with it. Good publicity,
For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed.
Joker, directed by Todd Phillips and distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures, has dominated the box office. It broke the record for the largest October opening weekend in movie history at $96.2 million. While the borough has struggled with its reputation as a dangerous place, it is perhaps ironic that a threatening figure like the Joker may have helped burnish its image. And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more news updates. Goodbye.